During that time, I wore niqab. During my studies, my formal studies as a teacher, I wore niqab, and all the teaching practice I did was in niqab. And even though it had, I had to kind of approach my teaching differently, especially because it was language, right? Because when you're teaching language, you're using your mouth, you're showing people how to like position, you know, their teeth, their lips, their tongue, with different, you know, words and stuff like that. Not only that, just purely to be understood as a Scottish person in London,
definitely.
people normally need to see your face, you know. So there's that as well. But I found ways of getting around it. And for me, that was, you know, I loved it because it was kind of pushing boundaries and it was expanding my own knowledge and, you know, kind of for the people who were teaching me as well, this was a new experience for them. I was their first Niqabi, and alhamdulillah, I'm not saying didn't come from me, but my tutors, who later on I worked beside, they actually said that because of me and because of, you know, the different ways I approached teaching as a Niqabi, they accepted more and more Niqabis after me, alhamdulillah.
So
on the
what
course.
age group were you teaching? Sorry.
So after I studied, I was teaching 16 to 18-year-olds.
Okay.
And 19 plus. So a very challenging audience.
Definitely.
Alhamdulillah. But they were all amazing. So let me tell you about my job interview first. After I studied and everything, I started looking for a job, normal process. And at the college that I worked at, I got an interview and I could see that the interviewer had a Muslim name.
Right.
So I was really excited about that, and I automatically thought, you know, I'll have this job in the bag. I got overly confident.
MashaAllah.
And then when I went to the interview, the sister wasn't visibly Muslim. Not that I'm being judgmental, it's just relevant to the context of the story, okay? And I was dressed in an overhead abaya and full niqab, dressed in complete black, okay? So she looked a bit shocked by me. I'm not going to lie, I was a bit shocked by her.
Especially with the name and everything, right?
Exactly, because I had a non-Muslim name, exactly. So, yeah, we goes to her interview. I give her my CV. I give her, you know, all the other documents that are relevant to the job. And she asked me a few questions about teaching. You know, she asked me my experience, blah, blah, blah. And then she said, do you intend to teach with your niqab on? So before I had went into the interview, I had already accepted that that might not be practical in a job setting. Like a lot of people might not want that to happen, and they, according to, you know, law, they're not discriminating by asking me to take off my niqab for the actual teaching. Okay, so I had already accepted that I would be willing to do that because I needed to work. The position I was in at that time in my life, I needed to work. So it wasn't a choice, it wasn't a luxury, it wasn't me chasing a career, it was a necessity, you know. So I was willing to do that. But I'm me. I like to try my luck. So I said to her, you know, I said to her, I was like, yeah, well, you see, I did study, and I have a reference for that. I did study and teach. All my teaching practice was in the cab, and I would do this and I would do that, and blah, blah, blah. So I would hope that you would allow me that opportunity. And she was just like, no, we're not going to do it. So I was like, okay. And then all of a sudden, we just started getting into niqab's place in Islam.
Oh, wow.
And is it in fact like Islamically, like is there any Islamic basis to it, or is it purely culture? And we honestly, I swear, halfway through this interview, I was like, do you know what, Aisha, this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're getting tested right now. Stand your ground. You know, don't just for the sake of the interview, like change, you know, what you believe. Stand your ground, say whatever it is you have to say, and, you know, just take it as a learning experience, move on to the next job.